Say hi, guys. Oh, we can go to the basement. Oh, we can go to the basement. Okay. I have still a bunch of stuff in my daughter's basement, and this is crafting our hoard. So let's go downstairs and see what I have to share with you today. Okay, I have a bunch of ribbon. Okay, what is in this bag? Oh, all kinds of stuff in this bag. This is the other tote that I was actually really excited to find. You guys already know I have a ton of paper, but this has a lot of my 6x6 in here. And some more napkins. Oh my goodness, I forgot. Yep, a bunch of napkins. That'll be fun. Okay, so let's see what I can come up with. If I just grab, let's just grab, these are from the Dollar Tree, 6x6 paper pads. Let's just grab something fun, maybe one of these pads, and see what we can come up with with a cheap paper pad. Yeah, okay, I think I'm gonna do that. Well, this is the stuff I found downstairs. I even found my little mini scoreboard, some of my lovely ribbon, my scrap cabin, and I found a paper slicer and scorer. Probably needs a new blade. That's probably why it was still here. And of course I grabbed a paper pad. The only thing I brought from home was some scissors, and I did bring some colored pencils if I wanted to do those. So let's see what I can come up with this, my hoard that is at my daughter's house. I also found one of my vintage suitcases, and I found, the only glue I found was some school glue from the Dollar Tree, a little lighter. This has got some washi tape in it. And of course, just little bits and pieces of ephemera that has been sent to me over the years. So let's see what we can create here. Okay, it's been a while since I filmed on my phone. So let's go ahead and get started here. First things first, let me set these things to the side. I want to make sure that this stays in frame. So let's just open and find some pages we can start with here. So I'm just going to tear some out, and that way we can just have them all out and ready to go. Got these all out and separated into their styles. This one seems, I love this one, and it seems just out of place. I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to start with, I think these three go together fairly well. They all have those same colors in it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and just start with these three. I know that one kind of goes with it as well, but I'm gonna set those aside for right now. Now on these, they do have the big old hole punch in the top. So let's go ahead and come in and make sure this is all cut off. So this is 5.5 inches. Okay, so it will, if I trim that off, let me go ahead and just score all these right at that 5.5 inch mark, and I'll just cut along those lines. So the easiest way I found to do this with the supplies that I have to make sure everything is the same is I'm going to come in like I was doing before, but I'm only going to do this to 2 sheets of the paper that I'm actually cutting, so that I can come in here now and grab like 2 more sheets. You found their bone. And now I can take and line those up just like so. And then I can come in with that and line it up here on this marker, because the paper trimmer isn't long enough for me to measure out the 6 inches. So now I can come in, and with this one, it's a fine paper cutter. Push down and cut, and it cut those 3 just fine. And then of course I'm going to save these in case I need them. And then I'll come in with the last couple papers off of that particular style, line them up, and cut them out. You can also just use that guide. You can measure it with a ruler and draw it with a pencil and cut it with your scissors. Your paper may not have this. This is just something I'm trying to use what I have on hand. All right. Now all of my papers are a 6 by 5.5. This is the 6 inch mark here, and this is the 5.5. So I'm going to come in and we are going to score this right down the center at 3. I don't have these highlighted like I do my other one. So here's my 3-inch mark. It's right under the clip where my little bone folder slides in. So we're just going to come right on up to that 3-inch mark, score those down, fold it in, and press it out. I'm going to do that with all of my sheets and have them stacked up. This glue was brand new, so it still had the little cork in it. So I don't normally use white glue for paper projects because it can warp your paper. So we're going to just be very careful with this. So I folded the papers to the inside. So I have my right sides together, my pretty sides together, and I have 3 stacks with one of each style in it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we are just going to go ahead and start. And what I'm going to do, because I don't want to mess, I'm going to go ahead and use this little cap here, and I'm going to put a little glue in it. Okay, and I'm going to use my finger so I can get just a little bit on there. So I'm going to open this page up. I'm going to just use my finger, and I'm going to go along the top edge here, bottom edge there, and I'm not coming up to the spine. You guys have seen me do this before. And then I'm going to just put some on this outside edge, and then just a tad bit more just kind of down the center. And now I'm going to take this piece and this piece. We are going to line them up, and I want it to be lined up as best as possible on the spine of my little booklet. I usually do it like this, and it's just, you just need to do it the way you usually do it. It's just a different glue. I'm going to line up my edges here on my spine, and then I'm going to press that down. And I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to use the bone folder to press that down and out. Press that down and out. And not too bad, since it is school glue, not too bad. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go ahead and dab it on my finger. I'm going to leave about a finger's width from the spine and then drag that out. Finger's width from the spine, drag that out, and then drag it down the front of your paper. And then I put a little bit down that center mark. Very, very light coats. I want to go ahead and fold that in half. And that's the top, and I want it to be on the front of my book. It doesn't matter. I should have done it the other way. Glued the other page. It's no big deal. And so I'm just going to line up that spine. Remember, the spine has to be lined up. That's what you are concerned about. Papers are papers, and you cut, and they can be uneven. So it's not a big deal, but you want that spine to line up. Okay, so now we have these two together. This is not new. I have done this for years, and it's been around forever. So now I have the booklet. We have the butterflies, we have the wavy lines, and we have the honeybee look, okay? And now what I do, I'm going to go ahead and get these two done here, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a cover for this, and I'll show you what we're turning those into. I did want to share that because we're not adding glue to the edge of our spine, it's very easy to come in and line your spine up before you lay it down. So line your spine up, because those are 2 blank areas and there is no glue on there. So you can line those up, have plenty of time to move it around, and then take it and fold it up into place and burnish that down. And that gives you the little booklet created out of Dollar Tree 6x6 paper pad. And we are now going to, there it is, just set and let that totally dry. So there we have our first page, our second page, and then we'll have a front and back cover. And these will be little ephemera books. I did want to share that because we're not adding glue to the edge of our spine, it's very easy to come in and line your spine up before you lay it down. So line your spine up because those are two blank areas and there is no glue on there. So you can line those up, have plenty of time to move it around, and then take it and fold it up into place and burnish that down. And that gives you the little booklet created out of Dollar Tree 6x6 paper pad. And we are now going to, there it is, just sit and let that totally dry. So there we have our first page, our second page, and then we'll have a front and back cover. And these will be little ephemera books. So these were also downstairs. Look at all of these colors. Okay, so I am going, this is 65-pound cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and find a color that I think will go well with these. And then I'm going to create a cover out of the cardstock, and I'll show you how to do that. But I'm going to pick out some colors that are going to go nicely with this. I might pick out 3 different ones. That would give us 3 different looks for a book. This was my very first paper slicer. I think it needs a little bit of some cleaning. Now I had drawn down the lines here at the 6 and the 4 so that when I brought it up, I would know right where it was. So we need this, since our booklets are just a hair over 3. I want it to be at least 3 1/4 inches wide, and it is 5 1/2 inches tall. So I want it 5 3/4 inches. So if we do 3 1/4 and 3 1/4 is 6 1/2. So we need 6 1/2 by 5 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up on my 6 1/2 inch mark, making sure it's lined up all the way down. Slice that up by 5 3/4, which is right there. And I'm going to go ahead and I can actually do 2 at once on these because this thing is very powerful. So what do we do, 6 1/2? See how quickly I forget? Yes, 6 1/2 by 5 3/4. 5 3/4 and slice. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to just score these right in half. So 6 1/2 is going to be 3 1/4. So we're going to come in here and I've got my little 3 inch mark, and then here's my 1/4 inch. So it's 2 ticks. Here's 3, 1, 2 ticks and 1/4. Score that down, fold it in on itself, make sure it's up in that corner, come back in with your folder and press it out. There's one. So down in that ribbon box I found some just ribbon here that I can go ahead. This was I think a grits container, and these are unopened, so they're not coming through, but I do have other ones that have different colors that are coming out through the little hole I created here. But I'm just going to, these are all the same. Another Hoard. And I'm going to use this on the inside of each of my pamphlets to create the tie closure. So I just want this to be able to wrap around, and that'll give me plenty of room to put in there and tie off. So all I did was wrap it around so it was, around the little booklet twice. And I need, making 3 booklets, so I need 3 pieces. Okay, so I found I had a bunch of boxing tapes down there when we moved as well. So I went ahead and grabbed some tape. Because of the glue that I have, I am going to go ahead and just use little bits of tape on here as well to hold down my ribbon. So I'm going to just find that center, and this is going to wrap loosely. We don't want this tight because we still want that gusset to be able to open and close. So I'm just going to snip a little bit there. And then tape that down. I'm gonna make sure I have room for my book to open a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that back around, leaving room for my spine to open some. And then we're just going to lay another piece of tape down. We are going to now go ahead and lay some glue. Once again, I'm going to use my fingers. Oh, I'm trying to unscrew it and take it off. Oy, I can tell the last time I used school glue. All right, so that's the back. That's the front. It doesn't matter because it's going to be the same on both sides. But I don't want to put glue all the way up to the side. So now what I'm going to do is we've got our centerpiece, our cover. And I'm going to take this and lay this. I'm just going to grab it with a little ribbon here. And I'm going to center that into my little book. Giving a little edge here, here, and here. And then we can press that down. And burnish that down. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. And now all we have to do is close that, lining our cover up and burnishing that down. So now we have our first little booklet ready to start adding ephemera and pockets and everything into. And we have a nice little gusset back there. So if this gets full, we have plenty of room. It's not hindering our fold. All right, I'm gonna get these other covers put on there and then we'll start building the rest of this up. So I'm gonna come in and just bring it down at the 1, 2, 3 notch. Fold that down, fold that over, and then while that is still folded, I'm going to bring that into my scoreboard right here. And this is going to help me get a nice, even, just push it all up against that edge, bring it out and push it down. I'm going to do that with all of my papers here. I'll show you one more time. I'm going to go ahead and on the 5.5 inch side, I'm going to come in at 1, 2, 3 notches. Score that down, fold that up. This is going to give me a lip. We're going to put that into the corner. This is going to make sure we're square. I'm going to fold that up into the corner of the scoreboard, pressing it up into that corner and all the way to the edge here. This will give you, let's do it this way. This will give you a nice square fold. And press it down. So I'm going to do that with all of my papers here, and then we'll be right back. So I don't have my circle punch to put in thumb notches for these pockets. So I took a piece of the cover that this paper pad was in, and I just drew a line straight down the middle. And now I'm just going to come in and I'm going to draw out just a little notch here using the end of a very big popsicle stick. And now I will come in and I will cut to the edges. Like so. Like so. And then I will come in and trim out the notch. So if you don't have a circle punch to do this, or if you're not comfortable just drawing the notch or cutting it out yourself, now I have a template. It's the same size as my little cylinders here. And now I'm going to go ahead and line this up. I will draw on one side. I will flip it over and do the same thing on the back side. And then I will cut those out the same way I cut this template out. So I'm going to get those all drawn on here and cut out, and I'll be back to show you what we're doing next. Okay, so I have these all notched out, the front and the back. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to go ahead, and each of these will have a set like so. And what I want to do is I have an outside, it'll be an outside set and an inside set. I do not have my inks, so I'm not going to ink these edges here. I do, though, have some washi here, not nearly what I have at the house, but I have some washi here, and I thought maybe the glitter would be a nice touch for some of these. So on the inside, where these papers are only single-sided, I can take some of this washi that I have here. I have, the ones I have open are the green, the blue, some pink. I have two more colors here. They're not open, but I can still open them and use them. And I'm going to just start taking like a piece of washi, and I think I'll lay it down on the inside of my little pocket there to give it a little bit of, to cover up that white. So I'm going to go ahead and take some of this purple one here. I think that would be great on this one. And since these are so bright, this washi works, I think will work out just fine. So this washi, it actually has a backing I can take off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of measure out what I want. And so if I need to lay that on the inside, I want to measure that up. Bring it over to the back, and I will trim that off. And I can trim it off just under right there. And now I'll go ahead and use this template to cut me out. Let's see, how many purple ones shall I do? All right, let's just do 4 purple ones. And I'll just use this to cut them out. And we are going to go ahead and use my little Cricut tool here. And I will lift up a part of that backing. I'm going to pop that open. And I'm going to set it on the inside this way. And then I should be able to straighten that up and lay that down, just like so. And I'll do that on the sides that need the purple, and I'll get other colors cut out and the rest of these lined on the inside. This all lined up and ready to go. So this one's going to be on the inside, so I want to line it just underneath, bring it down, and fold it out. This is the shorter fold, so this will should sit right on in there, and that fold right on up. So once you get those down and get those burnished real well, we'll start gluing these together. Okay, so this is what they're going to look like. I love it. So what I did is I'm going to take the thin little tape that I have here, this double-sided tape, and it is very strong. And the pieces that are going to lay down against, I'm going to put tape on these 2 pieces here, right at the corner where it closes, clear up to the edge of that pocket and tear it off. Do the same on the bottom down here. So both sides will form a pocket. There we have that. Press it down and tear it off. Now this one is the center pocket because it will go in here. So we need tape on this side now. So it's folded. I'll lay it down, bring it up, tear it off. Same thing. And tear it off. This is the only one, this little bottom flap is the only one we need tape on this particular one. And lay it down, up, tear it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down. So we're going to go ahead and close this pocket up, and I'm just going to tear that backing off and fold that up, lining our edges and pressing those down, just like so. And now I'm going to tear this back off of here, like so. And this is now going to line up, and I can just take it and line it up underneath. Just like, I'm gonna trim that off first right there. All right. Now I can bring that in, line that up. I'm not used to, you hear the dog snoring? All right, I'm struggling with this one. That's because I'm filming. So I'm going to turn it. You've got your bottom here, so you can do it this direction and lay it down, or you can line it up at the top and lay it down. And then I turn it to the back and burnish that down. Now we have our last piece. Pull those up. This will now come up and glue right on down. Burnish, 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 burnish. And now we have our pockets. We have a top pocket. We have a behind pocket. We have a middle pocket, a behind pocket. Well, we have that one. We also have that one. And then here, and then here. And they're all bright and beautiful. I'm going to get these two done, and then I will show you what we do next. Okay, so here are our little pockets that I made out of the 6x6 paper. I think those are adorable. Here's the little booklets, and I'm going to use the butterfly paper. I saved 3 sheets, and I'm going to trim that down and create the little cover to go on the front of these. So we have, this is right at 3 1/4. And I think all I want to do, I think that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this down to 3 inches. And that should be about the same. A little bit less, but that's fine. And then I can use my tape and put that on the front. So easy enough. We're just going to come in, and I'm going to just lay that double-sided tape across the bottom. It's easier if you have something flat. I usually would use my an acrylic stamping block to lay that down and tear it up. But those are all at my house. Let's lay that one down, tear that up, and then up each of the sides here. Now I will burnish that down real well. And I want to make sure it is on the front. So this is right side up. So this is the front. We will remove our backing. And get this laid on down. All right. So I'm going to use the edge here to lay it right on down. And we'll come back in and burnish that down. Okay, so we've got our books. I love the butterfly page so much I didn't want to cover it up, so I put the pockets in the back of this one, in the front, I can put more in there, but I've got 2 left here that you can just leave in, and you can actually just use a paper clip. I have some, this is a homemade little box. I had one of my subscribers send me some goodies. I mean, I can, oh, wouldn't that be just, I think I'm going to put a little butterfly on the front of this book here. And then I have another one. And I have 2 more that she had made and sent out as well. So here's another one, and this one has bows in it. Oh, I can pick a bow to put on there. Yeah, I think I'll do a bright pink bow. So I think I will do a bow and the 2 butterflies on those. Well, there you have it, friends. I've created 3 little booklets where you can add more pockets and store some ephemera. Here's 2 extra pockets, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pockets to store tags or ephemera in. So there's the 2 extras. And then of course I have the big bow on this booklet. And since I glued this down to the back, I have an extra pocket back here. And they're a little warped because I had to use that regular school glue, but I think it's fine. It's a great idea. Of course, the butterflies, I used some super glue to put those onto the front of that. Now, if you don't want to tie these, you can just wrap them around that butterfly, and that will stay just as fine. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Your time is precious. I know it. I do appreciate you joining me and spending some of your day with me. If you're not subscribed, I hope you'll consider doing so now by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification, and YouTube should let you know when my next video has gone live. I want to thank our hosts for hosting this month, and they host this every month. And it's time to jump in, grab our crafting supplies that we've been hoarding or not realizing we're hoarding, and get it done. Thank you so much, guys, and as always, stay safe. God bless. Bye for now.